that somebody whose body of work has had a major impact on the film industry, the genre, the fantasy, horror genre. And we couldn't think of any, and in fact, to be honest, it was both Dante and Miller we didn't think of them together. They just, it was like, yeah, we have to do Dante. Then, well, I have to do Dick Miller. But then afterwards it was like, oh my God, well, of course, because they work together and they're so perfect. But I want to, I think there's only one person, I shouldn't waffle on any further, but I think Joe is the person who should be giving this award to Dick Miller for having such a major impact and having such an amazing career still going on, and really affecting so many people in this business. And that's what the Hollywood Horror Fest Impact Award is all about having an impact on the industry. So, Joe, you want to come up and you can present the award.
I'd like to present this award to an actor who was in every one of my pictures except one because it got cut out. But not, I mean, got my mistake. And who has also over the years become my friend, and who basically I wanted to put in my first movie because I had been a fan, watching the pictures of his as I grew up, and said, but why can't I have my picture I like to know? This may be my own picture. And so we hit it off, and after that it was like every script that I read, okay, I want to know if it's a good script, but most important, is there a part for Dick Miller? And obviously other people were paying attention as well. So I'm very honored to give this award to Dick Miller.
Not much I can say after that. I was born the year that talking pictures began, and now the film's over. Everything is shot digitally. Digitally. I'm not finished yet, but the film's it's just great to get this. I thank you very much.
Walter Paisley is born.
Okay, so before we see the Howling, we're going to have the three of you, Belinda, Dick, and Joe, just sit up here, and Pat. Yeah, we go. Are you going to come down? We're just going to, just a few little anecdotes before the movie. I think that'd be nice.
I'd like to introduce Belinda Velasquez. Who I've pulled off several times in the movie.
Okay, hey guys, as the man mentioned, you've got Joe Dante. Gremlins and Terminator, which Dick is in. He's the gun store guy who makes a bad idea of selling guns to the Terminator. Can you story from the three of you? Joe, you worked with both of them for the first time with Piranha, right?
No, I worked with Dick first on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, you okay.
That was, and then my second picture was Piranha, in which Dick played a Texan, who turns out to not be a Texan. He turns out to actually be a Brooklynite who's masquerading as a Texan.
Now, you worked with John, talked about working with John on this. You know, on the Howling, both the Howling and...
John Sayles?
Yeah, John Sayles.
Well, John, when we did Piranha, the three of us, in Texas, John Sayles had been brought in to rewrite a not very good script. And we brought John down to Texas because I like to have the writer on the set whenever possible. So in case they do any rewrites, so we give him a part and then they have to pull him down. And so when it came to do the Howling, it was another situation where we had worked on a script with another writer, and it was okay, but it wasn't quite there yet. And so again, we went to John Sayles and said, you know, can you punch this up to something that's a modern werewolf movie? It's not the kind of movie where the actors constantly have to talk this, run over to the doctor and say, "Doctor, what is a werewolf?" And, you know, the audience is way ahead of that. And so this was actually the main contribution to that picture was that it was really the first postmodern werewolf movie where the characters actually knew what werewolves were and that they were just as savvy as the audience.
Yeah, this is true. And you beat American Werewolf out. Did it open in March or May of '81?
Well, it was a coincidence, as these things sometimes are. There was a number of werewolf pictures in gestation at this period, which I didn't know. But John Landis was doing this picture. There was Larry Cohen was doing Full Moon High. There was a picture called Teen Wolf. There was a picture called The Wolfen. There was a lot of werewolf pictures, and they're all made independently of each other. And ours was made first, and for a lot less money than some of the others. But we ended up coming out slightly ahead of John's rather more expensive picture, which of course made lots more money than our picture.
And
Did you ever see anyone? Yeah,
And Dick, you got one of the great lines in the movie, "Werewolves the worst than cockroaches."
Oh, did I say that?
That's it. I mean, by the time you were doing the Howling, you had this whole ensemble going, right, Joe? And, you know, Dick and Belinda?
well, you know, actors that you work with, you know, you recruit them. Like some would say, like fleas. I wouldn't say that. You know, when you work with people that you like, you tend to want to bring them along on your next picture, and also you develop a shorthand, and you can all work with each other sometimes without even really verbalizing things, because you work together so long, you know each other so well. If you look at the careers of any famous directors or even non-famous directors, you always see the same people popping up because those are the people that they like to work with.
And how long a shoot was the Howling, by the way?
The first time or the second?
Yeah, because Belinda went to Big Bear to get killed, right? You weren't killed originally.
No, she was always killed, but she was killed 2 times. First she was...
From Mendocino all the way to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, she runs from Mendocino to several other locations on the way to being killed. But what happened was that it was a very low budget film, and Rob Bottin, who was our brilliant didn't really have a lot of money to work with, and so to try to create these werewolves, you know, we tried various things like putting people in suits, you know, human beings, and they looked like bears because werewolves have a different structure than people, and so we actually ended up going back and reshooting a bunch of stuff with different werewolves that Rob had been given a couple of extra bucks by the studio to make, and it was really the stage of the movie. I mean, I think we wouldn't know that it was good without those extra scenes.
And you tried stop motion, right? You tried a stop motion werewolf?
There's a little stop motion in the movie. If you look at the very end, there's a little dissolve that has a stop motion werewolf, and then we hired a guy named Dave Allen, who was an excellent stop motion guy who did Q for Larry Cohen. The problem was that his werewolves and our werewolves just didn't look alike, and we ran the movie for some people, and they said, "Boy, I really like those stop motion werewolves. What movie did you get those out of?" and it was apparent that we really weren't going to be. It was like it was from a different movie, so we ended up using almost none of it.
And Belinda, what comes to mind about the film for you? Tell us. I did a great piece on her on Dunford Towels, where you went into the whole. Well, go ahead.
Well, one thing is that the werewolf wasn't finished when we shot the movie, so pretty much all of my close-ups were done, or we knew what the werewolf would look like. Now we're doing our 2 shots and our masters trying to match something we did 3 months ago. And the truth is my hair had grown like 3 inches. And I said to Gigi, the hairdresser, I said, my hair's longer. And she's like, maybe I wear Polaroids. And I'm like, no, really, it's longer. And she said, no, it isn't. But if you watch it really carefully, you can see my hair go like this. But it's such good editing and so well done and moves so quickly that unless you're aware of it, you do not notice it. And that's what's so seamless about Howling is the editing.
This was not her first death by werewolf. She was the werewolf of Woodstock.
Oh, that's right.
It was an ABC late night
Midnight movie,
videotape.
yeah. The wheels drove
And
a,
he's Stephen.
the wheels drove a dune buggy. It was pretty bad. But let me ask you, when you were
Ty
shooting,
Andrews was in that story.
was
That was
it
Ty Andrews,
He
yes.
actually made him wear this.
Yes, he sat in that story.
Ty Andrews, he was on Star Trek. He was a big character actor. You know, that they actually made him wear the wheel hop in the summer set. How about you, Dick Miller? What do you remember about the Howling?
Not too much.
It was one day.
That's all the day, Joe.
That was it, it was a one-day job. Right? And it's a horror movie, I'm told. When he offered me the job, he said, it's a story on that. What is this? There's a lot of words in it, and I use them all.
Now, and you know, speaking of which, Belinda, is that your actual scream, or did they dub something in?
No, we didn't have money to dub screens. That's
Well, no, you
I
just.
had a better screen, actually, when we had the screen.
Yeah, she screamed actually when she saw it. She hasn't seen the movie since 1981.
I have.
Oh, seriously?
Because she went to the screening and she was
Still in
screaming during the movie. She was like freaked out, like she wasn't in it, you know.
It's really embarrassing.
And so since then, she's never seen
No,
it.
I've ever seen it.
Wow. And, well, the three of you, do you have a favorite scene in the film? Each of you. Oh, obviously your scene is your scene.
My scene is the one I like.
Totally.
Well, his scene is like,
It is.
he has told me on various occasions it's one of his favorite scenes that he ever did.
It is a
He never says that in
my
front.
long career. It's my favorite scene.
And my other favorite scene is when Belinda gets her comeuppance.
My favorite scene, okay, is that scene, and I said to Joe, I said, you have to pan down and get my feet. And he's like, why do you want me to get your feet? I said, just do it, okay? And so I was doing that.
Yeah, that was
That's
cool.
actually
I used to get a big screen. One of the fun things about that movie was that going to the opening in New York, which was at this Lowe's theater that had a theater on the bottom and a theater on the top, and they were staggered a little bit. So when they got to the scene where the werewolf pops out in that scene, everybody screamed. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. So I ran upstairs, and 5 minutes later, the same thing happened, and people reacted exactly the same way. And it was just one of those little things that clicks in your head, like, you really do have a lot of power in movies to make people react. And so when I did Gremlins, there was another theater in New York that ran a picture, and there were 2 separate booths. And if you looked at the booth, there was some scene in the movie, I can't remember what, where you would look at the audience, and it was like a field of wheat, and you would see the reaction starting in the front by the screen, and then it would just move back away, and then you'd go to the other theater, and it would be exactly the same. And it was, you know, a lot of movies is manipulation, and when you keep that in mind when you're making the movie, it does sometimes change the way that you stage the scene.
Now, you used dental drills for the sound of the fish in the original product.
No, I think Charles Champlin in LA Times wrote that it sounded like a chorus of dentistry. It was actually a bunch of whale noises, I think.
Really?
A lot of whale noises in that movie.
What did you use for the whirls? The whirls sound really cool and distinct in this.
Well, we had the real worlds come in and dub.
God bless Africa, as they go. Okay, we're wrapping up. Oh,
That was very subtle. You know, sometimes people stand in the back and they like wave. Not with him.
all right, one last question of our guests. You have some cool cameos in this. John Sells is the morgue attendant. Roger Corman redoing the William Castle bit from Rosemary's Baby. Nick Garris is the guy in the bathrobe. I mean, what did you have? Is there anything we missed? Is there anything we didn't catch?
So no, a lot of my friends are in it. Jonathan Kaplan is a director. Is in it. It's you use the people that you can get for free. I mean, it's a lot of movie.
No, wait a minute.
No, you weren't free.
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Joe Dante, Belinda Black.